Hey guys, welcome to Season 2, Episode 11 of Fight Your Rival. I'm Natal. Now, for all you Smash Brothers fans out there, a new Smash Brothers didn't come out, but rejoice, something close enough did. PlayStation All Star Battle Royale came out this week, and it's safe to say that the last fighting game of 2012 finally came out. Before I get into that game, let's go over some quick news in the fighting game industry. This weekend, November 24th, Broken Tier IFC Yipes will be hosting Curly Mustache 5. This year, Yipes announced that he's gonna have a couple of exhibition matches prior to the actual tournament itself. And one of the exhibition matches that was announced was TA Moons versus Maximum Hype Ray Ray. If you're interested in watching a Curly and you've never seen a Curly before, obviously it will be streaming on Twitch. Definitely check it out this weekend. And even if you're not a fan of the game, definitely watch it, because we all know high level gameplay for any fighting game is very enjoyable no matter what type of game it is. And you're wondering whatever happened to Skullgirls? Reverge Labs, the company that made Skullgirls, actually let go the entire Skullgirls staff. And in return, they landed up making a new company called Lab0 Games. Lab0 Games just came out with a press release explaining to the fans out there why has there been such a delay for the patch that Mike Z has been talking about since early summer. Now, the good thing is if you bought the game on the PS3, the patch is out for you guys. It was released on November 20th. Now, if you're an Xbox Live user, it's to be determined. They're not sure when it's coming out, but it will arrive shortly. And if you're a PC player and you're really hoping for the PC release of Skullgirls, unfortunately, you might have to wait a little longer. And if you're wondering if there are any more characters coming out, yes, they actually had a DLC character in the works, but they had to postpone that as well until they get everything figured out. Even though Lab0 is pretty much made up of the people who worked on Skullgirls, and Reverge Labs was the company that originally made it, they're going to coincide with one another and partner with one another, and they are definitely going to continue working on the Skullgirls franchise. This could either be a great thing for the company, this could either be a fallback for them. I wish them nothing but the best, because first impression Skullgirls was very impressive, but once people really start playing the game, we really started noticing all the problems in the game that needed to be fixed, and it's been quite some time since the patch. Now, PlayStation All Star Battle Royale has only been out for about maybe 2 or 3 days or so. I haven't put in too many hours to really have a fair judgment about the game, but here are my early impressions of PlayStation All Star Battle Royale. PlayStation All Star Battle Royale is Sony's first attempt into fighting games. With the help of Seth Killian, Sony definitely turned out a very strong freshman performance. If you never played a fighting game like PlayStation All Star Battle Royale, to sum it all up, it's pretty much Smash Brothers. If you haven't played Smash Brothers or a Smash Brothers type game in years and kind of forgot how to play, definitely try out the tutorial. Besides that, they have combat trials, which are very interesting. The combat trials are very character specific, and they really teach you the core mechanics of each character, and it really gives you a good feel for what character to use. So if you're not sure of what character to pick, I definitely recommend going through combat trials. And practice mode is your standard practice mode. Just like every fighting game out there, PlayStation All Star Battle Royale has a good chunk of stuff to customize. You could customize your icon, you could customize the background for your icon. You could also unlock second costumes for everybody on the roster. But some of the things that you could customize are pretty interesting. You could customize your character's intro dialogue as well as outro dialogue and their victory music. And if you want the cool icons to stand out above everyone else, you definitely have to repeatedly play the game. The more you play with a character, the more you level them up, the more things you unlock. This is a really smart way of Sony adding in high replay value to this game. And surprisingly enough, the game also has an arcade mode. It's basically a story mode for each individual character on the roster, with a little intro scene, a little sub-boss fight, and then a final boss fight at the end, and an actual ending. I think this is definitely something really awesome that they put in the game. It really makes it feel like a fighting game, going through everyone's story and getting a better sense of the characters, especially if you're not a big fan of the Sony franchises, or if you're a youngin' and you really didn't play games like Medieval and Ape Escape when they're on the PS1. Once you're done customizing PlayStation All Stars, once you're done with the combat practice and getting everybody's stories, everyone definitely wants to play online. My first impressions of the online is the online's pretty smooth. There aren't too many disconnects. I didn't have that hard of a time really finding a match. As of right now, the online is pretty solid. With everything that you're hearing and you're seeing right now, you're probably wondering what is the real difference between this and a Smash Brothers game. The main difference that stood out for me is actually one of the main mechanics of the game, is how you win. In Smash Brothers, you would gradually progress with a percentage, and after you reach a certain percentage, anyone can knock you out of the game, and then you'll respawn and continue, and so on and so forth. With PlayStation All Star Battle Royale, you actually gain a special bar. And with the special meter, you could do up to 3 different types of levels. You could do a level 1 attack, a level 2, or a level 3. The level 3s are out of control. They're really hilarious. Some of them are instant kills for everybody on the screen. Some of them make your character bigger and freeze everyone else so you could knock the other characters off the screen. My personal favorite one is the Big Daddy one. I think they did a really great job portraying BioShock and all the elements. I find this playing option a lot more interesting because you could still run around level 1 and level 2 special attacks, and as long as you're smart enough, you won't be getting knocked out of the game so much. Besides that, the button scheme is very Smash Bros. X. There's 1 jump button, 3 attack buttons, and each attack button does something different depending on which direction you hold the analog stick while pressing that button. The right analog stick, you can use that to throw your opponents, and the same thing goes with the throws. Up, down, left to right are all different various throws. You could block, you could roll, you could air dodge in the air as well. So even though the core mechanics of the game are very similar to Smash Brothers, the overall objection to the game is completely different. And what about the characters? I never realized how many characters Sony actually had, and I have to say the cast is pretty good. Right now I really can't tell if one person's really better than the others, except in my opinion Big Daddy, super powerful. But besides that, it seems like the game's fairly even for now. The one thing I definitely have to give Sony credit for are the backgrounds. The backgrounds are super interactive, and the backgrounds are multiple backgrounds. If the Little Big Planet background says Little Big Planet, in the middle of it the background will change and it'll be the game Buzz, and they will actually ask you questions and you have to answer them by jumping on certain platforms on the stage to get the right answer. All the backgrounds have something similar to this. Loco Roco has Killzone or Resistance, because both of those games look alike to me. Definitely one of the best things about the game are the backgrounds. It really enhances the overall fun factor of the game. Now, I was a little skeptic on buying this game. I did enjoy Smash Brothers, but I wasn't a big Smash Brothers fan, and I had a feeling that maybe after a week or so I probably wouldn't play this game again. This game actually has a good chunk of replay value for me, in a sense where it's something to play. It's a little more relaxing than your standard fighting game. I feel that this game I'm really not going to invest so much time into remembering what up and triangle and down and X does. Even though PlayStation All Star Battle Royale just came out, I could definitely see this game catching on, especially with the fact that they give you a free copy of the Vita version when you buy it for the PS3. And I have to say, the Vita port is actually pretty good. I thought that there would be a huge difference between the console and the Vita port, but they actually work very well together. I think Sony was really worried about making sure that the cross-platform play runs smoothly on the Vita and the PS3. They probably had to really keep the PS Vita's restraints in mind in making a game, so it does feel better on a handheld as opposed to on the console. Feels like a handheld game. The console version feels a little empty. I did play for a couple hours with my friends, and you know, after a while we were like, okay, this is pretty much more of the same, and let's move on. I'm not sure if there's any additional characters you can unlock through gradual playtime, or if they're gonna release DLC characters in the future. Hopefully Sony decides to go down that route, since this is most likely a franchise that they would want to pick up, and if it gets really popular, they'll definitely make a sequel for the PlayStation 4, whatever next gen console they have in store. And before I wrap up this episode, as you can see, I'm by myself. Andronico is not here with me this week, but we are getting ready for our December episodes where we are going to go over the best of 2012 in the fighting game industry. From tournaments to games to characters to combos to anything we think of that deserves to be in the top 5 or top 10 of our list. So this is Natal from Fight Your Rival, and remember guys, keep fighting.